Hello, lovely people of this channel. Good morning, says Mikey the Beagle, who just had a nice hike. It's a bit of a drizzly weather today, but nevertheless, Mikey got a nice hike in this morning. But Mikey, being a good boy here, is not exactly what I'd recommend someone in the situation like this lady I'm gonna not mentioned by name or by her channel name, but just mentioned by what happened to her. So Mikey is an amazing alarm dog, alert dog. He will alert absolutely 100% if someone is at the fence, at the gate, coming near there, if a car stopping in front of the property and so forth. Also, if any wild animals are present, like across the fence, which is wild boar, wild cows, wild horses, and foxes, their likes. Wolves are not really milling around down here. They're more like milling around up the mountain. You're a good boy, Mikey. But nevertheless, so we're going to look for our resident guard dog next. And as the title of the video says, woman driven off her own land by a stalker. This is very alarming. So what basically happened, whilst we go look where Maya actually is, what actually happened is a lady with quite a decent big following on YouTube, very nice lady, featuring her travels. She has a working line German Shepherd as her companion, and all the more it's surprising, here's Maya, it's surprising to say the least, that a male stalker was able to not just find her, but come quite close to her land, and for her dog to, in the body language the dog displayed in the video, to not be overly concerned about it. So the dog has his tail down, was following the owner past that man, was not alerting, not perking up, like not barking at the man, not bluff charging him, like Maya, my Strela mountain dog, good girl, good girl. She would absolutely have acted quite differently in that situation. If someone popped up, I mean, we had land without a fence before when she grew up, and she'd go up right to them, bluff charge them, and bark right in front of their belly button. Once she was grown up, and as a puppy even, she would do that, but bark lower down, like in their knee level, just to try and ward them off the land. And I had to recall her and be quick about it too, because I wasn't sure what she was going to do if the person moved or tried to intrude further. So that's why she went through a lot of training to perfect her recall, and it was tested in the face of multiple close call situations. And not having a fence was not our choice in the least. On the contrary, we wanted desperately to move from the property and or make a fence, but due to COVID hitting, lockdowns hitting right when we got Maya, this didn't exactly happen. So I completely understand why a lady wanting to live very remotely in nature has a situation where she can't just quickly whip up a fence. There's also money involved, of course. Um, and already having a dog by her side would give her a sense of security. But essentially, this lady, after the encounter with that stalker and also another stalker that tracked her, she was driven off her own land. She got so afraid that she left her own land, which is incredibly sad. So what would I, as a dog trainer slash dog owner slash guardian breed owner, do in such a situation? I had a working line German Shepherd myself. You can see pictures of her on my Facebook. To find my Facebook, super simple. Underneath the video, you'll see pop up a Facebook link to my free dog owner support group. And there you can click on my profile name and you'll see all the pictures of my dogs, past and present. And the big German Shepherd, Cora, her name, is also among those dogs. So basically with Cora there, we also had a home invasion, one could say. Yes, the dog was locked in one room in our absence. We went shopping. When we came home, several things in the house were missing. I mean, the case was settled, the police was involved, and we received a big chunk of money basically to make up, settle out of court with the offender. But nevertheless, we moved after, and I never felt safe again. So I purposefully searched for a breed and a breeder here in Portugal who would have dogs that could stand up to the occasion and fearlessly actually defend the house and at least give a good bluff charge and a show of force at that fence, which our German Shepherd didn't do. and which I bet the lady's German Shepherd wasn't prone to doing either, because simply judging from the little clip of the dog's body language, a very gentle, well-educated companion German Shepherd, but unfortunately for real-life situations like this is not the best kind of dog. So this kind of dog here, Maya, has a much higher responsibility placed on my shoulders simply by having an effective defense dog that will rise to the occasion should the need occur. And for those of you in the comment section wanting to write, yeah, but you don't know that unless you test it, and you should test the dog. And believe me, the dog was tested, albeit not by my planning. What happened, I'll tell you about a few occasions to just illustrate my point, and why it's so smart for a woman living fairly remotely, especially with a husband. There's either no husband, no male partner, or the male partner is out working most of the time, or much of the time, or even part of the time, There's still, if a stalker is hell-bent on finding you, then accessing you, they can watch your house and find out when exactly that man is not there. But your dog should ideally always be on site if you have a guard dog for that purpose. Like Maya's always with me, she sleeps in my bed. If I think I hear footsteps or something outside, I'll release her and she storm out in a flurry of fur and galloping, barking loudly towards the source of the noise. And so far it's just been wild animals roaming around the woods here. You see, we live very isolated, it's forests all pretty much all around. So yeah, when Maya was a puppy, 4 months old, about 4 or 5 months old, we were in the house, in our new house, because after the incidents of burglary, we did move to feel safe again, for me to feel safe again. We got Maya as a puppy from the breeder, who assured me that that dog's gonna defend me with her life, and I thought he was exaggerating. He wasn't. So that dog was a puppy back then. We were in the house one Sunday when the husband was out with the German Shepherd hiking for many hours, and suddenly we heard someone rattling our shutters. We had wood shutters at the house, and it was quite scary, to say the least, for me to be alone in the house. Already known we got we had some issue with some crazy stalker before, so it might be them. They might have found the house or whatever reason. So I took a staff that a local shepherd had provided me, said if you ever need for any reason to defend yourself, here's a good solid wood staff, keep it. So thanks to him, shout out to him if he watches this, thank you. I took the staff. I put the puppy behind me. I mean, she was the size already of a small German Shepherd, even as a 4 or 5 months old puppy. And she was going absolutely crazy. Like, she was trying to get out that door or go through the glass to get to the source of the rattling, the noise, and the footsteps that we heard outside. But I wouldn't let her, because also as a puppy, and even as an adult, I would still always back up my own dog and fight for her alongside her, fight to protect her also. So what happened there, I ripped open the door. I made sure my puppy was behind me and couldn't go through the door. Then I was ready to face the intruder, stalker / whatever it may be, whatever weapon they may have. I had the staff raised, and I've done martial arts for most of my life, you guys, so I'm not an easy victim. I know how to handle weapons. I just say I also know how to handle guns. I had gun training before, and this is not a good place anyone would want to enter and try to surprise me or anything. But just saying, so I went out ready for battle, staff in hand, ready to use it at close range, because I thought, yeah, judging by the footsteps, that person must be right there in front of the door. I ripped open the door, looked out, and sure enough, they were right there, and it was a male as well who had come on the property. But it was, behold, not a person, but something like this here. It was, I kid you not, it was a beagle, a male beagle, who had gotten through the very weak boundary we had back then, climbed across a wall, entered the property, and he just very surprisingly looked up at me saying, "Oh, hi, what are you doing with the big staff here? What do you want?" And then that beagle beagled off, just merrily sniffing around, and I went back to the house, grabbed a slip lead, leashed that beagle, and let them off the property and released them again, simply because there was no, like, it was so remote. I just figured it must belong to one of the adjacent village houses and not too far, because I had heard that barking of that dog before. So I figured I'd just let him return home and not, try to keep him on the property where you drive my dogs crazy and cause a ruckus and cause a fight and so forth, because my puppy Maya back then absolutely would have attacked that beagle simply because they were intruding on her property. So there was one occasion where I knew, okay, even at that young age, the dog's already got what it takes to stand up and defend me, defend the house should the need occur. Second occasion was when someone came up behind me onto the property. It was a courier who had ignored the dog warning signs, let himself in through the gate, walked past the gate, because again, there was unfortunately no fence, but we had dog warning signs popped up, of course. A guy walked up the steps right behind me. I turned around. I just had a basic F moment, because I knew my dogs were going to go for him. So both the dogs went for him. But as I had trained Maya, who was at the time maybe 8-9 months old, already in recall under distraction, very diligently, she stopped. I was able to recall her, bring her to the house. But had I not been there, or had the training not been in place, I'm pretty sure she would at least have knocked him down the stairs. So again, having a dog like this, a functioning, effective defense dog, ready and physically able to stand up to an intruder and stop them, that could have ended very badly. It's a big responsibility, as I'm saying. But I'm also a dog trainer, trained dogs, started training dogs for protection work back in Germany and as a teenager, so I halfway know what I'm doing. But yeah, so that showed me also, okay, this will work. I mean, the German Shepherd, I was able to pin to the ground with a Platz command, and she would recall then into the house. Both dogs would recall to the house. I was able to give that postman a good telling off, grab the package, and just tell him to, you can imagine what I was telling him. I was very agitated, of course, at that near accident. So that's the second occasion Maya stood up for herself and for me. Third occasion, so no chance in hell someone's gonna sneak on and land, and that dog not hearing it, smelling it somehow, because yeah, she will smell if someone is even on the total other side of the property walking past, and go for them, go for the fence. Of course, she's not like at liberty to assault anyone. People here are quite safe as long as they stay outside the property. Third occasion she proved herself was when we had, as I said, we did have a problem with a malicious stalker before, when that person showed up in a car in front of our property once. I was out walking Maya on leash, just went back from a walk and saw that person, and they stopped the car, scrolled down the windows and made moves to leave the car and enter the property. And once again, my husband was not on site. So what I did is I started yelling at him. Also, that's what you learn in martial arts classes / self-defense classes, that you always yell very loudly to alert anyone nearby, living nearby, to what's happening. So you have witnesses, you have people that can call the cops. So I yelled my head off, but also that what that yelling did instantly, my dog, at that time 1 year old, flipped into action, realized, oh, that's a serious situation, because usually, of course, she's not like just allowed to bark and lunge at people on the road, and she totally doesn't do that unless someone tries to barge into my space, and it's a different matter. But then I will block her from the person. If it's just a misguided person who's thinking they can pet that dog, is no, you got to go through me first, and you won't pet that dog simply because you get bitten if you try. So I always block the dog, but in that case, of course, I didn't. I needed the dog to defend me and be at least what trainers call put up a bark wall, which is basically you have the dog barking, lunging at the end of your leash on cue, and that is enough for most occasions for a potential assaulter to retreat. So how I triggered this, I mean, she's not protection trained. I would never protection train Maya, because it would be incredibly dangerous, in my opinion. A livestock guardian dog with a strong natural territorial aggression and defense drive. I just firmly believe, I mean, I did decoy work myself. I, again, halfway know what I'm talking about. I would never do a protection work with such a dog, because they'd get in my opinion, far too riled up, far too stressed out, far too dangerous, really. So you want to manage that drive they have. It's in them, it's in their DNA. You want to suppress it to a point. I shouldn't say suppress it, that's not healthy either. Redirect it to more healthy avenues and impose strong leadership with force-free methods as well, which can be done only through patience and perseverance and consistency, militant consistency. But anyway, I digress. So what happened is I noticed a shitty situation about to unfold here for me. So I started yelling my head off first to alert any neighbors who lived quite far away, but across the valley probably could hear my shouting murder. And I was just before I also yelled that I'd call the police, so in case people heard that, they could have picked up on that and called the cops themselves. It's another good safety measure. But what my dog did without any training in doing that required, she flipped into action straight away, like right away. Within a second of me starting to yell, she lunged to the end on the end of her leash and pulled me forward so viciously and vehemently that I stumbled. I stumbled a few steps forward. I hadn't anticipated how strong she already was at 1 year, because at 1 year these dogs are mastiff type dogs, are not yet fully grown, fully mature, but she hit the end of that leash so hard that I stumbled behind her for a few steps until I could regain my stance. But that guy, I tell you, that guy very, very quickly, Mikey, leave it. Sorry guys, Mikey trying to dig more holes into the yard. It's not really necessary. And what does he have? A root. How fascinating. Okay. That guy extremely quickly rolled up his window, shut the car door, and drove off, never to be seen again. Literally, he never, never, ever contacted us again. So Maya effectively drove him off for good. Another instance happened about half a year ago, and that wasn't a real threat. It was just someone in desperation. So we were walking down a country track around here in the woods somewhere, close to a country road. And suddenly a truck stops, someone jumps out and runs toward me with a cell phone in their hand, like literally jogging towards me. And I was already putting myself between Maya and the person because I figured what would follow. So sure enough, Maya lunged and barked angrily, and I just kept her behind me and in a heel position, no problem at all. And it turned out the guy was desperate because he just lost his dog. His dog had run off, a beloved family dog, and he was almost in tears. He was so wound up. And the beautiful end to that story is I was then able to help him find that dog again via social media. So he gave me a business card. I was able to put the finders of the dog on social media, on Facebook actually, in touch with him. He got the dog back and he was so grateful. But that's an example, like if someone storms in your direction out of the blue in an area where people usually shouldn't even be, especially if it's close to your property, you want a dog that responds in some way, at least puts up, or like I mentioned, that bark wall to discourage someone coming invading your personal space, right? At least I want that as a female living alone and not living alone, I live with my husband, but living remote, that's what I wanted to say. And yeah, my husband isn't always on site either, so of course there is times when especially if that's at night, where I rely strongly on my guard dog to do her job, which she does. So yeah, that's my little rant, and I feel terribly sorry for the lady to whom that happened. Unfortunately, the lady also pretty much broadcasted her location of her land on social media in front of a substantial amount of followers. So as many of her subscribers and said in the comment section, now the cat's out of the bag and you pretty much gotta take precautions. If I was her, what I would do, it's easy for me to say, got a lot of compassion for the lady, of course, and respect, but what I would do in such a situation, I would I would not allow anyone to run me off my land, for starters. I would put up a perimeter fence, at least something like that, 6 foot high, chain link. In her case, probably something with wire, barbed wire on top, a bit higher, like maybe even 8 feet with barbed wire on the top layers. I would put beware of the dog signs everywhere, and I would really invest in a guard dog. Not probably in her case, not even a young puppy, but a adolescent who is still moldable enough to the new owner to accept her as a new owner and bond with her. Something along the lines even of a Russian of Caucasian ovcharka, Russian, aka the Russian Shepherd, or a Illyrian Shepherd, also known as, I never pronounce it right, S-A-R, and then the name goes on, Sarplaniach, or yeah, forgive me, I just really can never get that name right. But yeah, an Illyrian Shepherd, a Turkish Kangal should do the job just fine as well, or a Caucasian Ovcharka, which for sure be able and willing to defend that property and that girl quite effectively. And she's not in the States, so that's not in the country where everyone has guns and just shoot your dog either. So a functioning dog should hopefully be enough defense for that. Similarly, a cane corso, a borbel, should be a Dogo Argentino, a Fila Brasileo should be also quite able to do such a job and defense without needing training. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that very sad story that she had being stalked as a female, which is never fun. And also, as depending on the gun laws in your country, inform yourself, get a defensive system set up, get an alarm system set up. I know all that comes with monetary expense, but it's a good investment in my opinion. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on it, and the pros and cons of having a functioning guard dog that has a strong natural guard drive, which not all breeds have. German Shepherds often do not. Even so, people think, especially well socialized German Shepherds like hers, are often quite mellow. They don't develop that natural aggression, the territorial aggression. For some reason, some individuals really don't. Our female didn't, never did. You know, so get yourself something like a Rottweiler, a livestock guardian dog, but not a mellow Maremma dog or Pyrenees mountain dog. You need something with a bit more bite to it, literally. By default, there's a saying in livestock guardian dog terms: the more you move geographically in terms of their origin, the more you move from west to east, the more human aggressive they get / human reactive. But that's what you need if you need a guard dog. You can't have a docile Labrador type dog and rely on them with your property and your personal safety. It just most likely won't work. But there are Labradors that do defend excellently. I'm not saying that. I know them myself, but not all do. So you want something that gives you the highest chance possible, like a Central Asian Shepherd, Turkish Kangal, Malakli would probably be an overkill, so it's a Turkish Mastiff. Similarly, an overkill might be the Pakistani Mastiff, which can be also quite aggressive to its owners even. I hear from Indian locals who know these dogs in person. A Rottweiler, a Doberman should do the job as well, but also go to a good breeder, a certified professional dog breeder, and tell them exactly what you need. Like, that's what I did. I went to the breeder, said, dude, I really got to help me out here. Can one of your dogs do the job I need because such and such happened to me, such and such my requirement? He said, yes, absolutely. And we selected a puppy that was very outgoing. Maya, you good girl, aren't you? Good girl. Maya was the most forward and assertive of all the puppies, the most aggressive play biter, and I chose her for that reason. So you also want to select a puppy from the litter that is not shy, certainly not shy, that won't work. That is also not too calm and withdrawn and laid back, but is outgoing, is very forward, is very daring, courageous. So ask the breeder, because a good breeder, a good certified breeder professional will temperament test their puppies, and they know exactly which dog will fit your bill. I only ever go that route with my dogs, that if I select to have a puppy, I ask the breeder to select me one. I don't select myself. I selected Maya myself just because it made sense to me at that time to just pick the most forward puppy of that litter. And yeah, I haven't regretted it, because she's excellent at her job, and she effectively put an end to our stalker problem. Like I said, that person never returned. And neither did anyone else show up at our gate ever again to have any weird thoughts about getting closer to access to myself or my husband, or you know. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm sorry to have made another long video, but for those of you who listened to the end, thank you so much, and please consider subscribing, leaving a comment. Also, if you're in such a situation that you feel the need, you need a guard dog, pop me a question in the comments, describe in a few sentences your situation and your requirements. And I'm also a breed consultant, I've been for many years, and I'll be able to give you a few a few words of advice completely for free, to how to address the situation best, in my opinion. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.